Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Journey Success Stories podcast. I'm Jennifer Sheffel, your host today. And today I am with Joe Myers. He is the partner and president of Lighthouse Transportation Services. Thank you, Joe, for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jennifer. My pleasure.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Trust me. So today we're going to be talking about his business, the journey that he's taken in order to get to where he's at today, the challenges, but also those wonderful successes and celebrations that he's been able to endure. But of course, if this is your first time to the show, make sure that you like and subscribe because we want you to get additional notifications whenever we have a new show drop, just like this one, because you'll want to come back and watch it time and time again. Because I know Joe's going to have some really cool things that you're going to want to remember and probably reference back to. So, Joe, welcome so much to the show and thank you for being with us. Please tell us a little bit about you and your journey and how you got to where you're at today.
Sure. Yeah. Um, grew up over in the west side of Cincinnati. Went to public schools. My dad was a truck driver, and most of my uncles were truck drivers. So I kind of had an idea of what that trucking life was like. Didn't think I would ever get into trucking. Just thought it was kind of cool because I would see my dad park, his rig across the street, or I'd see my uncle come in from time to time. And I always wanted to look in the cab and see kind of what was going on as a kid. But as I got older, um, I never thought I would kind of get into trucking. So uh, I went to college, went to junior college. I played baseball for a year, transferred to UC. I was going to try to play there. Got hurt. Didn't really. School was never my thing. I was never a really good student in high school. Wasn't a. I didn't like school. So I had an opportunity to go to work for a trucking company with my brother-in-law when I was 21. He was running an operation here in Cincinnati for a company out of North Carolina, and they were growing and they needed some help. So I took the leap in, and they tell me, well, okay, your first 30 days you have to go drive with a driver and see what they see and do what they do. So I was really dreading that, but it was actually one of the best things that I've ever been through because I kind of got to see what drivers go through. Like I knew that there'd be time missed and stuff like that from growing up or whatever, but I never seen how much they're actually driving at night or parking and waiting and just sleeping in their cab and just the elements they had to deal with. And I learned how to do a lot of the things on the truck. These were flatbed trucks, so I got to learn how to tarp the loads. So if you ever see flatbed loads with tarps over them, those things are super heavy, and they're tough to deal with. And then, when you secure a load, you got to use chains, binders. So I got to learn how to do all that, and
Yeah.
it was kind of neat to learn. I worked there for 5 years, and then shortly, um, in 2001, 9/11 happened, and then in October I got laid off. Um, Sat out for a few months. It was difficult to find work. I was like 25, 26 at that point. And then I was looking in the paper. 'Cause that's how people my age used to find jobs. Was looking in a paper in the back, and I saw this company that was never heard of that was looking for someone to be a broker, which is what I'm currently doing now. And it was a company called Total Quality Logistics. I went and interviewed there and got the job in February of 2002. Um, I stayed there for about 16 years and I decided to leave. And then I joined Lighthouse in 2017 as the president and partner. And I've watched this place grow out of 3 buildings and we've had some success. We were best places to work in 2023. We were finalists in 24 and 25. Um, yeah, I'd say that's the gist of how I've got to where I am now. But I mean, a lot of the ways were tons of hurdles to climb over, and
Oh, yeah.
so
So let's talk about some of those hurdles
yeah,
or opportunities that you were faced with along the way. Because growth doesn't just accidentally happen. Sometimes it does organically, but you also have to plan and strategically do some things in order to go the way that you want it to go. So, Joe, tell me, how big is your team today versus when it was when you started?
At Lighthouse, I'd say we probably have close to maybe 50 employees right now. And when we started, we probably had 15, maybe. So we've grown a little bit. We're always looking for good people, but they got to be a good fit. Logistics can be really fun, really rewarding, but going out and getting business is very difficult. So anything that you do that's hard, I mean, that you want is difficult. And cold calling is probably one of the hardest things that I've ever had to deal with. Um, you just deal with rejection all day long. Like I would make 100 calls and would talk to one person that would be, oh, hey, Joe, yeah, call me next week. Or then I'd have 99 of no, 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 or hang up, don't call me again. So dealing with that every day for years, like, it's tough. It really shows what kind of character you are because a lot of people just give up. Um, I learned to play kind of a mental game with it because I knew I could not dictate what people said to me on the other end,
Right.
which you know is a hit or miss. And then especially when you're trying to get them to give you business and earn revenue. So what I did was I had an effort goal. So if I made X amount of calls on Friday, no matter what sales I had, if I had zero, but if I hit my 500 calls plus, I could leave on Friday thinking, okay, I had 4 or 5 good conversations. Hopefully those people will turn into a customer 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks down the road. So
Yeah.
mentally, that's what I had to do. Because if not, I would probably have taken my car and just ran it into a light pole or something because it's constant no's.
It
Constant.
is.
And people aren't always nice either. They're they can be rude. So you deal with that, and just it's just another call because that last no is one call closer to someone saying yes, and it's like, are
Absolutely.
you sure? You sure you said yes? So yeah,
That is so entirely true. And so, talking to our listeners, it's so important to think about what KPIs do you have in place? Because if it's how many yeses did you get, I can tell you also as a business owner, you're going to get way more no's than you do those yeses. But those no's, if you approach them appropriately, you're going to be stronger from them and you're going to appreciate those yeses way more when they do come.
yeah, and then you treat those people better. In my opinion, I treat my customers like they've become friends over the 30 years I've been in this. Like there's people that I talk to, all the time. And it's not even sometimes about work. It's just, how are you? How's the family? How's the kids? What's going on? You good? And that's it. There's a lot of people like that I check in with or check in with me. So I think that's what we strive for, but not everyone is as fortunate as I am to be in this as long as I have and kind of continue the relationship. But it definitely toughens the skin. Um,
Yes, it does.
but it's also pretty cool to say that I picked up a phone, called someone that has no idea what I look like, only hears my voice, and is willing to give me business instead of someone else because they think I'm genuine and trustworthy, and they know that I'll do a good job. And then once you get that opportunity, you never want to let them down. So
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yes.
yeah. So it's pretty rewarding to think that all you did was pick up a phone and you built a business that can sustain. You know, I could probably put another 150 people in this place. As we grow. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It is. It's absolutely amazing and it's awesome, especially when you see the growth happening and all the pieces coming into place. So, one thing that we talk a lot about is on sales, it's not transactional at all anymore. It's more relationship building. Now, when a lot of people may think about logistics, it's okay, I have this LTO, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm picking up a load here, I got to take it there. They think transactionally, but in essence, it's not. Can you tell us a little bit more about that relationship building piece and how that's really been instrumental in the business?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, when you find someone, and it's not just customers either. People in my world, they want customers, customers, customers. Not great. Customers pay you, but you need carriers. You need to build that relationship with carriers as well. And they're, you know, right there on the scale. They're even. So in my opinion,
Yeah.
that is in my, opinion, why I think we do is as well as we do, because we treat our carriers like our customers. Um, we have conversations with them, we talk to them, and they know, like, hey, Jen, if I'm taking a load to Cincinnati to Atlanta, before I go to Atlanta, I'm going to call Joe and see if he's got that load out of Atlanta. I've done for him before. So that way, he calls me, and I'm like, yep, I sure do. And now he's got his next two loads, and he's ready to go. And all I had to do was send him a piece of paper. So those are the types of relationships to build with carriers. With customers, it's it's easy. You just answer your phone, you be present, and you have very, very good customer service. Like, there's a lot of things that go sideways in trucking, and it's how we handle them. You've got weather, like we've just had recently. You have breakdowns. You have drivers who just refuse to do a run, and you've got stuff that needs to be here yesterday that they're just shipping out today, and they want it there ASAP. Odds are something's going to happen to that shipment. Like, it's just the way the things roll. So it's how you confront those, and usually I do it straight ahead. I think um, I learned early on that it's better to confront those issues, because that way the customers can pivot and let their vendors know what's going on, instead of hiding behind a phone call, or, oh, I can't get a hold of the carrier, or this and that. Those are things that we used to deal with. Now there's so much visibility that it kind of takes that guesswork out of it. So it teaches the younger people that it is better to be upfront and honest. So the relationship with the customers is all about trust, and then just
Yeah.
doing what you say you're going to do, hitting them with bad news when it happens, and not waiting, and take that butt whipping when you have to. I mean, because sometimes they're gonna give you a lashing, but other times they're like, thank you for being honest and telling me I could make some moves around. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. So, what has been the biggest piece that made you learn on communication as soon as something goes even a little sideways? We need to communicate that right now. Generally, there's something that happens in our lives where it's okay, I don't want that to happen again. So, tell us a little bit
yeah,
of Joe and his learnings.
a lot of failing. And then learning kind of how I would want to have it done as well. So if I know a truck's going to be late, it's better to call them right then and there. I've had just about everything. I've had trucks stolen. I've had
Yeah.
trucks that have had drugs on them. I've had uh, trucks that were in accidents. I had a driver, unfortunately, had a heart attack and passed away in the truck while he was
Oh,
sleeping.
no.
So there's all types of things and elements that you never know that you're going to handle. And it's just being compassionate, genuine, and calling the customer and say, hey, this is what's going on. I don't have the right answer for you, the answer you're looking for right now. Here's where this truck is, and here's what we're doing to try to fix it. If I don't have an answer with you in an hour, I'll update you. And it's staying, updating them, emailing them, or calling them and saying, hey, still working on this. I think we have a truck coming in from here. Their ETA is X. We should still be there. Y. And then, hey, the truck's there. We've got the shipment. We're picking it up. We're rolling now. I'll give you another update. That stuff just sounds easy, but it's really all anybody wants. Like, where we see DoorDash, like, where's the food at? and if they have an issue, you just want to know. You don't want to get your food in 2 hours and say, what the hell happened? I mean, you leave questions. So someone says, hey, I have a flat tire. My mom's coming to pick me up. I have your food. Like, you would appreciate that and say, hey, I understand. I would think most people
Yeah.
wouldn't and be decent humans. So
Yep. Absolutely. So, being a partner and president there at Lighthouse, what rewarding benefits has it really had for you as an individual in being on this side of the business?
it is amazing to see people come in here and not know how to do this job. No one knows their background. Maybe they were not the best student, or maybe they were a great student. You never know. But it's seeing someone come here with nothing, and then 2, 3 years down the road, you see them driving a brand new car, or you see them get married and buy a house. And for us to give people that, you know, freedom and the ability for them to grow and build their life and their family by us giving them an opportunity and believing in them,
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything more rewarding to me than that, than seeing my people blow up and do great things. Yeah, I'm their biggest cheerleader.
that is awesome.
Yeah.
So, when you think about the business and where you're wanting to be, say 5 years from now, you've arrived. What
hmm
does the business look like now?
Um, we've had some pretty good growth since I've been here. I think we've quadrupled it since I've been here. I would like now to sustain that is not possible. Um, but I would like to get better every year and grow, and then grow with people. I think I would love to see us in another office in another city somewhere. I think Cincinnati and the area in general is pretty saturated with a lot of TQL disciples like myself. And 20 years ago, a lot of people were like, what's TQL? And now everyone here knows what TQL is. And not saying that's a bad thing, but I just wonder, and from some of my other friends and people who've talked who've tried to move outside and grow another city, they've had some better luck with more people. So I'd like to see us with a couple offices somewhere else. So it could be nice for me to. I got to go to Florida. I need to see the office, or wherever we go. So yeah, more traveling like that, and just seeing the company grow and stay successful, but not too big. I still like to know that I know everyone's name in the building.
Mm,
But
nice. So, what do you think is the number one thing that would hold you back from opening another location, from sustaining that quadruple growth?
hmm, well, the market always plays tricks, but I think we've got enough diverse business that right now we're going in a transition of the market declining and going back to a carrier's market, which we haven't had in a few years. Um, and they deserve it. They've been getting it lately. So um, I don't know. I don't think there's anything really holding back. We need to find the right person. That's the most important thing. You have to find the right person that we trust, that aligns in our core values, and that we could put somewhere and say, okay, they're going to do things the Lighthouse way and grow it from there. That's going to be key. You got to have that one person that you can let go and say, all right, go build it.
So are you thinking like a general manager or someone to kind of a managing partner at that other location, or tell me more?
Yeah, I think they would be like a sales manager that kind of has a book of their own business, but eventually wants to get into leadership, um, grow that company and make it their own, and do their own fun things, and but still have our same values. And you see it kind of go from 4 people to 40 people, and it can happen pretty quickly.
Yeah,
So
it really can.
yeah,
And within that, you have to definitely trust people too, in
you
order
have
for
to.
everybody to be successful.
Yeah, That's the key. You got to find the right person to start it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I love that. All right. So for our listeners, if you're interested, you got to reach out to Joe.
yeah,
So one of the other cool things that you do, Joe, is a podcast.
yes, I do.
Yes. So yes, tell us a little bit about this podcast and what is it achieving?
Well, I am not the most outgoing person. Now I do these things because it's it's the job. It's what you know. But if you were to see me somewhere, my wife is extremely outgoing and loud and funny, and I just like to people watch. In this role, if I'm going to lead, I have to lead out front, not from the back. So we hired a marketing company about a year ago, and he got to talking to me and knowing, like, we just kept doing things and interviewing me, kind of like just getting to know me and see what the company does. And he goes, "You should start a podcast." And I go, "There's not, I don't see that." He's like, "No, I'm serious. Like, just kind of talk about what you do and how you do it, and anything that you would tell your employees." So I started out with just doing things just by my, in front of a camera, in front of my computer, just saying like, "Hey, here's some things that I've done in my years that's helped." And he said, "Well, let's turn that into a podcast." And so last year, I had our vice president, Kyle Lanham, on like I think 2 or 3 times in a row. We talked about what it's like to start in a logistics company, and
Mm,
then what it's like to struggle. And then I had Nick Lanham, who's our CEO and founder, what it was like to start the company, because everyone gets to see Nick now at Summit Hills playing golf, and you know, but they don't see the Nick that was working, when his child was, the
mhm.
second child was being born. He was in there working on a laptop, and the nights that Nick and Brad Ratliff, who's our other vice president, put into building what the foundation of what we have now.
Yeah.
And then I had Stephanie Fernanding, who's one of our longest tenured employees, who's kind of like our director of training, but she also has a really big account. What it's like to be a woman in logistics and the stereotypes, because I
Oh
would
yeah.
I would see women come in here and interview, and I look around, I'm like, this this could be intimidating, and then you're talking to men all day. Well, not all men, but let's
Well,
say,
majority. It's
I,
definitely a male-focused world.
yeah, maybe look it up. There's 9% of our truck drivers that are women.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's actually more than I would have thought. That's actually pretty cool. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot
right.
of improvement to be had. However, I thought it was even going to be more staggering.
I thought it would be around 4 to 5%, but
Yes.
yeah. So it I think at one point its highest was at 12, then it was at 7. Now when I looked it up, it was at 9.
Wow.
Um, I posted it on my LinkedIn page, and then I had a bunch of people tell me I was wrong. So 9% is what I told me. So 9, 7, 12, not enough. So
There you go. That's true.
and she's a mom and a wife, and I just wanted to know what it was like, because I know I'm a dad and I'm taking phone calls in a way, and what's it like, for her husband and this and that. And so I think it gave people a pretty good perspective. And then the next one I shot was I brought my brother-in-law, who got me into this business. He's still been in it, and now he's over at a pretty large trucking company as like a director of heavy hauling.
Mm,
And I wanted to get his perspective on brokers, the industry, what it's like, and so I think it's going to give people an idea of what it's like to be a carrier, what they deal with brokers, what they feel like brokers don't do a good job of, and how we could be better. And then the next one I'm shooting is for the customer. Try to say, like,
nice.
how do you like to be, you know, cold called or LinkedIn, or what's the approach that you like the best? And I think I'm shooting that next week or the following week. And I like it. I definitely see friends from around the way like, "Hey man, I see you're on podcast. Like, uh, it was pretty good. So I don't know. I like it.
That's all that matters. But the other piece of that is you have a sweet spot of empowering and mentoring others as they're coming into the logistics world. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I guess it's 'cause from my maybe upbringing, not thinking. I wasn't a good student. I didn't come from a lot of money. It was not rough, but not the easiest that maybe some other have it. And without a degree, and
Hmm.
you kind of figure like maybe I'm gonna work, in construction or in a warehouse, but to be where I'm at and to have the title I have, like is kind of impressive in my opinion. And I want to give back to those people who may not have had that easier path to success. So I try not to judge people by how they look or where they come from, and you can't ever measure someone's grit or their heart, and you can only tell it by how they work and how they pick up that phone and just don't stop. You just find people that don't stop. You're just like,
Yeah.
what pushes you? Like, what's your why? You want to get to know them a little better, and like, how do I find more of these people? So, yeah, I like to be able to give people. I like to give back. I think that I was given a great opportunity when I started at TQL. Then I learned a lot. I think they taught me a lot. Um, and I just want to kind of give back to other people, say like, hey, there is a different way to get to here, and this is how I did it, but you can do it your own way, or I'm here to help you along the way. Because I know there's so many different ways to get to where you want to be at, and
Oh, yeah.
my way's not always perfect. So I'm just
Well,
here to
and
guide people on that journey.
and what worked for you might not work for the next person, but there's learnings we've had along the way where we can really empower others to hopefully not make some of the same mistakes that we had made along the way too.
You would hope so, but I still see them make it all the time. But that's when
Yep.
you learn. That's when you learn. Like, I should have listened to you. I'm like, yeah. The only way I know that is because I made the same mistake you did 15 years ago, on something, and it's but I'll never do that again. But
Yep. Some people just have to learn the hard way and make their own mistakes. And you know what? Have at it. Hopefully,
pedal
they
forward.
fail fast and learn from it so they can move on and pick themselves up by their bootstraps and keep on trucking.
Yeah, you can't be afraid to fail.
No,
No, you got to
no.
get yourself fail. You got to fail, fail, fail.
Fail fast, move on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. So as we wrap up, this has been a wonderful conversation. I love it, Joe. But I have a couple of rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready?
Bring it on.
All right. Awesome. So, what is the key to success for you?
Adapting. I just
Excellent.
have to adapt to people. You have all different types of people that come and sit in front of me. I meet with my brokers once a month, every month. All of them are different. Some of them need to be kicked. Some of them need to be pushed. Some of them need to be hugged and say, hey, it's going to be okay. And it's finding that out from each person and how they like to be managed and, you know, partnered.
Yeah. Excellent. So, what is your one piece of advice that you would give to other partners and business owners?
Oh, um, healthy conflict is good.
Mm,
Healthy conflict is good. Don't just give in, but don't be a disruptor either. Say your side, your piece, but talk about it in a good way. And, hopefully everyone could see certain sides and say, okay, maybe you are right, or maybe I'm wrong and I need to look at it this way, because there could be a lot of chiefs and you need to make sure that you're all just moving that in the right way. All row in the right direction.
yes, absolutely. All right. What is a book or a podcast that you're reading or listening to right now?
Oh, good question. So I have a couple, two or three podcasts. I've kind of fallen down the Gary V rabbit hole, so I listen to his
Mm,
podcast a lot.
Excellent.
There's a Motiversity podcast that I will listen to when I have to cold call or I want to go out and get new business. And then as far as books, I'm not a big reader, but I will do the Audible. And right now I'm almost through this, but it's Alex Berman cold calling or cold emailing manifesto, which just gives you some scripts and tips on how to email clients, how to reach them out on LinkedIn.
Excellent. You said a lot of really important stuff, and I just want to pause for a quick second because mindset. We talked about you're going to get way more no's than you do yeses.
Yeah,
And the things that you're doing as you got a like hard day ahead of you because you got a lot of cold calling or cold emailing that you need to do. So there are manifestos and things that you're doing in order to put yourself in the right mindset to be successful for that day. Tell us a little bit more about how you learned how important that was. So I want to take a quick away from that rapid fire question because this is
yeah.
so important.
So again, I'll go back to what I talked about earlier, is tricking my mindset to know that I'm going to fail. But instead of having a money goal, like I need to put up $1,000 in sales this week, I put up an effort goal because I knew every day I was going to come in and I was going to hear no. But that no was closer to the yes. So I honestly became, I don't care. I don't this I'm going to learn something from this call. You're either going to be a jerk, you're going to say yes, or you're going to tell me no, and then I'm going to figure out why, and then can I talk you into a yes? And if you're a yes, it's like, okay, well, how do you run your business? How do you get to know them and what they need and to see if we would be a good fit? So every day I would come in and I would kind of I was never an early bird, I was always an 8:05 guy, but I would stay late. We would never go to lunch. We would always have lunch. I would always have someone run out and get lunch, or we'd run out and I would eat at my desk. And first couple hours were cold calling, and then I would find people who I needed to call back, or you know, prospecting prospects that I needed to still get a hold of. And then the afternoon was more cold calling, and at the end of the day, I would prepare for the next day. So I
Yes.
didn't have to get up and prepare. I had a list of people I could call, and I didn't waste time by, finding everything out. I would do a quick search, kind of get to know something, maybe a minute to a minute and a half on something, and then write them down, write everything, or put it in a spreadsheet. So yeah, you see a lot of people waste 10, 15 minutes trying to figure out everything about this company, and then it's like, oh, Jennifer's not at our company anymore. You're like, okay, can I speak to the other person? And it's like, you're already kind of off to a bad start. So
Right.
I think the less I knew, I would just go in, just make the call.
Yeah. Yeah. Rip off the Band-Aid. Let's go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So many important things because one, knowing how many calls you made and then how many yeses, knowing your numbers, you can actually back into making yourself successful. So if you know your conversion rate along the way, and this is what we coach as business coaches within Action Coach, is if you know you need that $1,000 for the month or for the week or for the day,
Hmm.
if you know your numbers, you know exactly how many cold calls you got to make because on average, you're going to convert or get the yes out of however many cold calls.
Right. So we do have KPIs in place, and
Yes.
so we have three of them that we put up for our newer, our 0 to 1 year brokers. And they only have to hit one of them. They don't have to hit all three, but one of them. And it's the amount of calls they make,
Hmm.
which we want 500 calls, so 100 calls a day, phone time, and or revenue. So we have we came up and we did, at this week, this person should do X revenue. And as long as they hit that, then if they hit 400 calls, like, I'm not saying anything to them. I'm like, hey, good job. But eventually that's going to reach, you got to. So we put those things in place. I think it's helped. Then from 2 years on, they kind of come to me more, and I have KPIs for them, which is not as many calls, but still They still need to be calling because we still need to grow our business. And it's not micromanaging. It's just really getting people to where they want to be at. Because when you meet with them, you're like, what do you want out of this? And someone might say, you know what, I'd like to make 60 or 70 grand, play golf when I kind of want to. And, you got other people that say, I want to make as much as I can. How do I get there? And you're like, okay. So that's the adapting to it.
Absolutely. Awesome. Okay. So here's a fun question for you. If you had a little bit of magic dust that you could sprinkle on a particular part of the business, what would it be and why?
The cold calling, is still very frustrating for me because even at my level, as far as like my tenure and my title, I still have people just, who don't even want to talk to me, trust me, don't return emails, won't return my calls. It's sales. They have people they trust. They think I'm just trying to sell them another bag of beans and don't know anything. So it's very annoying because once you get somebody, they understand like, okay, you're not like every other broker. You do care, you do this, and it's tough to get that through to people. But once you do it, like I said, it's euphoric. To get that yes. I don't care if I'm making $1 on. It's like I got them to say yes. So let's move. And then it's all about service after that.
Absolutely. Got to be clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, there's no off days.
No,
Not in
no,
transportation.
no way. Not at all. Well,
Yeah.
awesome. This was such a great conversation. I absolutely have loved our conversation today, especially mindset too, because logistics is hard. It just
Oh,
is. It's brutal. It
yeah.
can be really brutal. But before we come up to that final question of the day, tell people how they can get in touch with you, Joe, and reach out and learn more about Lighthouse Transportation Services.
Yeah. Thank you. So our website is www.golighthouse.ai, even though we're not an AI company. Um, I have a podcast, Cup of Joe, that you can see on Spotify. Follow us on LinkedIn. I have a pretty good presence on LinkedIn. I post there quite often, and so does Lighthouse. Um, I have a TikTok that I started, which I have 32 followers. So blowing up. Get it, get in now, guys. Get in now. Um, where I just kind of just take some LinkedIn clips and throw it up there, or I'll go around and ask our employees fun questions like, how many miles is it from Miami to Los Angeles? And it's amazing what some of these people say, and they're in logistics. So we try to have a little bit of fun. I think fun is a part of our 4 core values. So um, yeah, it's making me get uncomfortable and put myself out there for the betterment. Hopefully, I have one TikTok follower that might manage great. I want to work with these people, so that's why I do it.
Awesome. Well, and it's fun. And if we're not having fun, why are we doing what we're doing? Because it's what's going to really motivate us for the next day and into the future.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's fun for other people, especially my wife and children who are trying to watch me edit a video and how long it takes me, and they're like, "Dad, just give it to me." So I'm learning new things. I'm trying to adapt with the time. No dancing though. I'm not dancing.
Well, this was awesome. So, are you ready for our last question of the day?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. What is most inspiring to you today?
As a parent, it's my kids. Just building a legacy for them to try to give them the things that maybe I didn't have and things to maybe help them along, in their path. And if I can make it a little bit easier for them, then I've done something right down here.
All right. So, of course, I have one more question because that's Jen. How old are the kids?
I have a 26-year-old who is from a previous marriage, but it's not mine. I, first wife and I just divorced, split up, and I ended up raising him. And So he's my oldest, and then with my current wife, her and I have a 13-year-old and 11-year-old.
Nice.
So
Those are
those
fun
guys keep
ages.
me. I don't know about fun, but it's definitely awkward sometimes, and yeah, a lot of fighting, a lot of disagreeing, but it's fun. It keeps me young, keeps me outside, tossing football or baseball with them, and
Yes.
playing around, horsing around. So
Yeah. Awesome.
I wouldn't change it, but
No,
yeah.
no. Yeah, there's definitely different seasons of life, and you're in the thick of it, my friend.
Oh
That's why
yeah,
I said it's fun.
yeah, yeah. It's been a great year, So turned 50, and then my 26-year-old actually had a little boy who just turned 1. So
Oh, congratulations.
yeah, yeah. So I'm a grandpa, and don't know what we're gonna call me yet, but we're
No,
waiting on
that's
that.
awesome.
He'll call me with whatever he wants to. So let him
He
figure
has
it out.
that authority.
Yeah, he is the ruler of the house.
Oh, that's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
this was a great conversation. I really enjoyed hearing your story. So thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. So, of course, I encourage all of you who have tuned in to this episode to, of course, like and subscribe because you want to make sure you come back to this conversation time and time again. Listen about mindset, especially on those hard days, because it's going to play into your future and really get the ball rolling into a great rhythm. So, of course, we want you to get those notifications when we do have new conversations drop like this. So you have to like and subscribe. So let's do it. Thanks everyone who joined today. And a special thank you, of course, to Joe for sharing with us and his story and what empowers him. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Well, thank you.